Good morning, mamas. I just want to talk about the holiday seasons as they're around us. We just finished in America, we just finished Thanksgiving holidays. Christmas is approaching, all the things it feels like it goes with it. As I was sitting there ordering gifts and stuff, sometimes it feels like we're spending for the sake of spending, and all these feelings start to emerge. And last year, I did not want to write the Christmas card. My husband likes us to write what we do throughout the year and have one of the cards that shows what we do. And last year I felt really depressed and not sure of what I was doing. And I felt like I had nothing to contribute to the card. So that in hindsight now, looking back, that's why I felt like I didn't do it. And it actually inspired me to do the 12 days of genuine connection of how we could shift with each other and how we could do things a little bit differently. And that really changed my perspective. I'll put the link down below to last year's YouTube playlist of the 12 days of genuine connection. It's a good way to get in touch with how we actually can change that mindset. But I want to share a little bit right now, besides those 12 days, of how we can do it and what we're really looking for when we think about that. And I even just look at the Thanksgiving that just passed. And for me, usually like the packing and just organizing everything would always cause so much stress and just end up with like screaming matches or things like that. And I realized that it's just things that need to get done. So as I've been working through my meditations and the mental shifts of everything and looking at different perspectives, I realized as I was talking to someone today on the phone, that it really is about releasing the drama from it all. Okay. So I still have to pack and get ready for, go to my in-laws' house and do all these things, but I don't need the stress and the drama that's in my mind about the things that need to get done and the packing and the anxiety that goes with it. And that's when we start to acknowledge and realize what's going on in our minds and that chatter, that we can make the difference. And I think that's what it is about. It's releasing that extra drama from our lives we don't need. We're not going to ever not struggle. And again, we learn from our struggles, we learn from our pain, we learn when we fail. It's, do we pick ourselves back up and do we keep moving forward, or do we sit there and lick our wounds and just feel sorry for ourselves and not do anything about it? Which way do you want to go with it? So when we look at the holidays and we look at that drama aspect of the anxiety that might come up with how we might interact with a certain person, because we always have that in our families of what we're going to do and not do and all those things, right? So when we look at that perspective, we can think about, what is the drama that I felt like? So for me, it was, again, the packing and the getting things done. And this time, like, my husband kind of looked at me like, we're ready to go. It's just done. And he was home all day that day, and we were just able to get done, and it felt different. And what I did first thing when we got to his parents' house was, I normally had done the Christmas card over vacation, over that holiday thing. Is one of the first things I did is I just started looking at pictures and actually brought up some good memories of the year of just what are some of the pictures I might want to include in this card. And then just honestly, ChatGPT has really helped. I just took a format from that we had used from last year and plugged in some new details, and it helped just recreate that. So it made it a lot more simple using AI just to help us recreate those ideas in us. And then it was just a matter of fixing up. And then my husband was kind of like surprised, like, I didn't have much editing to do. I didn't have this to do. And again, it's, how do we remove that drama that is caused by our mind from these situations? And the first step is really just observing and figure out what is causing that anxiety in me. And when you think about the holidays that are coming up for you, is it certain things that maybe traditions that you no longer want to do? And that causes drama, and you're like, oh my God, do I have to do this? And for me, that was one of the things where we do a Christmas exchange with it. We were usually gone for the holidays. And so we do a family, the five of us exchange presents for each other. And I was just like, felt like we have all this stuff. And it was just like more buying for the sake of buying. And so for me, I was like, well, what if instead of exchanging presents that day, as a family, we just go do something fun? It's like, how can I still create those family memories and do something without just more stuff? Because for us, we'll open up those presents. Some of them will get put away, and then half of them will just stay there until mid-January as we leave and go on vacation for the holidays, and then come back, and then school starts, and then it's just chaos, and that pile just sits there, and it's yet another pile. So looking at that felt drama to me. So how do I release that? Well, the idea came to me that let's try to do something fun instead. So maybe we'll tack on one extra day to our vacation, do something along the ways. That day is just the five of us is something fun, or we do the day that we would have planned. We still don't quite figure out the details of it, but at least the idea is floated. So there's less having to spend time buying presents that just feel like for the sake of buying. But then, I mean, we're still getting some stuff, but it's just that it's not this need in me. Is like, how do I make those things? So what I suggest for you is to just start looking at the things that are stirring up in you. When you start to feel anxious about, is it a certain event? Is it a certain person? Is it a certain situation? Is it the act of doing something like packing for me? Or is the act of maybe you're just not a baker and your kids always want to bake cookies? Well, is there a different way to do that? Is there a way where you could just buy cookies that are one of the pre-packaged things where then they can still decorate and the kids can do it. And it's not something you necessarily have to do. So start looking at things that you enjoy doing during the holidays versus the things that feel like you have to do. And so when we get some of those have to do's out of the way or release them into something else, then we can actually start to enjoy and realize what are the things that we actually want to do in these holidays. Are you the kind of person that loves to go look at lights? Then make sure that that's included in the things you, and if you're not, then, but the baking is, trying to figure out those things that you actually enjoy doing. And then also looking at things that the traditions that have been in place. Like just because they're a tradition doesn't mean they have to stay a tradition. And I think a lot of us feel that certain foods, certain things have to be that way. And so then we just kind of keep doing the same things. And again, a lot of this feels like um, that we just create these busy aspects for ourselves to make it through the holidays. But let's ask the question, how can we actually enjoy the holidays? What is it in you that comes out that brings forth? And it's again, just looking at how that chatter in our head is responding. Let's just stop saying that you need to feel guilty or that you need to feel a certain way. What we're trying to do is observe. And that's the key is we start judging ourselves. And then the chatter just gets stronger and much stronger as we keep this chatter going. But when we take a step back and we're like, why is it this way? Why do I feel anxious when I'm buying more presents or feel like I just have to keep spending my time looking for something that the kids don't even necessarily need or that we don't need more stuff in the house? How do we come up with a different idea? And that's when I was like, well, let's do an experience. Let's do something. I don't want to not do something as a family. I want to enjoy the time together rather than feel like I sit there and like get all these pictures and open these presents and we will do that at other parts because we're still going to do those with grandma and things like that. So it's like it was one additional one. And so I'm not removing that completely because I still do enjoy it, but it felt more excess and that was causing drama for me and my anxiety. So what we're trying to do is just identify those ideas again. So as we start to wrap up for today, this is going to be a little bit of a short one, but I just want you to keep in mind what are the things that make the chatter go. So when we think about the holidays, does your light do you smile? Do your eyes light up? If so, what specific things come in your mind as you light up? If you start to feel anxious, what are the things? Is it certain people? Is it certain situations? Is it certain things you feel like you have to do or think or the list? What is it? And write those things down and then start realizing if they are causing you that much anxiety, thinking about what's going to happen, how do I remove some of those things? Are the things I don't even need to do or the things that I can change? Like changing the present, exchanging into an experience. Are there ways to change it? It doesn't have to be that way just because it's been that way in the past. I think that's when we get anxious. It's like, well, holidays have always made me feel this way, so they're going to do that again this year. And you're already feeling anxious. I had the same kind of experience as we were talking about our summer trip coming up this summer. And it sounded like as the kids were talking and my husband were talking that we were going to do the exact same thing that we did last year, all the driving and all this. And I felt that anxiety come up. And I'm sure some of you are feeling that way with the holidays. And so then it's like, does it have to be that way again? And the answer is no. So we start chatting like, what was bothering me about the trip? What do I want to do differently? And that's how we make the changes, is figuring out what is causing these feelings to come up. So let's identify how we're feeling about the holidays and the things that make us smile, doing more of those things. So again, just ask yourself, how do I feel about the holidays coming up? Make a list of the things you feel like you have to do. What are the things that can be removed if they're causing you anxiety? What are the things that can be added if they bring you more enjoyment? Let's make the holidays about actually making memories, but having fun while we're doing it and not just the end result. So I can't wait to see you guys next time. And thank you. And let's keep that genius ideas going, and just what can we do to get more enjoyment and be more present in the moment through our genius? See y'all next time.